Hi everyone, and welcome back again here to Studio and Parsons, my channel here on YouTube. Today we're going to talk about creating what we call here custom shapes. Now, if you ever wondered how to make a custom shape so that you could always use it in the near future over and over again without having to recreate them or just for the fun of it, I'm going to show you how you can simply make them. Now, the trick is in making a custom shape, it has to be a vector. Um, you cannot make a custom shape any other way simply because it needs a vector format in order to calculate, to create an object. Um, I know I just made it kind of sound technical there, but it's just a process of how to make an object within Photoshop, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. So right now I have something very simple here. It's a gear or a cog, whatever you want to call it. It's using right now a transparency, but we're just going to create a background here. Let's make it white and put it in the back, and maybe even make the canvas just a little bit bigger. So maybe we'll go 10 by 10 here, and once again we'll just fill in the back. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we need to recreate this object here using vector. Now, there's a couple of cool little extra tools here in Photoshop that we can use that I'll introduce at the same time. We have this kind of like onion skin layering thing here that allows us to simply detach or attach or intersect certain objects, but it's not showing right now because we need an object here. Where is it? Here it is. So we can combine, subtract, intersect a shape, exclude overlapping shape, and merge shape components. And within Photoshop, if you also create multiple vector. Okay, I'm having a little problem with my mouse today. I'll just delete some of these objects. Okay. So we got an object here. We'll create another one here, and then we'll just create another one here. Now, okay, my mouse kind of glitched on me today. It's just one of those days. So we'll just grab all these objects anyway. We have a whole bunch of them here, okay, whether they're overlapping or not. If we hold down our control key and hit E to combine them, they're still all in vector. They didn't get flattened. They're still using the multiple layers, and if you hit your A button, you can go in and actually, modify each one of these objects separately by clicking on the object in the layer of the main object, and just modify things like that. And that's one of the ways that we're going to use creating our object here is by using different vector objects or layers and combine them, and then take that vector and convert it into a shape. So I'm just going to go in and delete this. So how are we going to do this? Well, it's just simply we're going to go in and create a square, and we're going to modify it. Okay. So apparently in this video we want to be able to not have the mouse glitch on us. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in, I'm going to grab these 2 points here, and we're going to scale them. Now normally I would do this in Illustrator because Illustrator is a little bit more easier to work with, but what I have to do is I kind of have to, there's no tool in Photoshop that does the scaling correctly. In Illustrator, what happens is I can select these 2 points and do a scaling, and it will scale both of these universally, meaning that as I pull away from it, they will both scale from the opposite direction. In Photoshop here, we don't have that option, not that I know of. So what I basically have to do is I had to kind of use my left and right arrow buttons to count how many spaces I need. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, then I have to do the same thing on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so now we have our object here. But I'm going to come down just a little bit more, and we're not going to really worry about copying this design to a T, but we're going to use some methods here to duplicate and replicate certain parts, and we're going to end up making this cog here. Alright, so by duplicating this, I'm just going to use my Control T to bring up my transform options. So I'm going to rotate it, and it seems that my mouse is glitching today. It's my old saying is it's Murphy's Law. When you want something to work, it will not work. Okay, I just want to make sure that I kind of get it right here. There we go. Pretty close. I'll try to get as accurate as possible. So I can just hide this, and then I can go in. I can either put this into a group if I want, or in a folder which will group it, or I can just simply hit my Control and E to combine them and make them one object. Now sometimes you're going to see these points are always floating around, even though you're in your select mode here, your main cursor. In order to get rid of that is by pressing onto your A again, or going in here and selecting the direct selection tool and hitting your enter button. This is going to hide it, and then you can hit your V key again or select here, and now you have your select tool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this layer, and we'll just turn this back on again, and we're going to hit Control T again. Now by holding down your shift, what this is going to do is, and also making sure that you have it in an angle so that you can rotate it, holding down your shift allows you to do a snap. And what that does is it's going to equally calculate space in a 360-degree format. So right now you see it's at 0 degrees if you look at the little box hovering. And if I pull it, it's showing me the degrees that I want. So it's 15, 30, 45 degrees. So this will help you to understand the angles that it'll work on. So we're just going to click that, and we're going to hide this. Now I can simply go in and select these 2 layers. I can flatten them if I want, but I'm not going to right now. But what I'm going to do is I am going to duplicate those layers, and I'm going to hit my Control T again. And by holding down my shift, because I know that my center point is directly in the middle, so it's going to rotate accurately for me. So I'm going to hold down my shift and then rotate a couple more times, and then I could very well see that this is okay. So I'm going to hit my enter button and just double check. So yeah, all my cog pieces here are working or in proper proportion and correctly laid out. So now all I need to do is get the circle. Now that's where you're going to have made a little bit of an issue. Well, how am I going to get this circle in? How am I going to cut through a vector object? Well, you need to use another vector object to insert into the main object here, which is where we're going to go into, no, I don't want that. We're going to be using subtract from shape option here. So what we need to do is we want to make sure that we're going to have a correct circle here. So what we're going to need to do is we will need to group or combine. I'm just going to combine these for now because I don't need to worry about it. I know what I'm going to do here. And I'm going to create a circle that I'm going to end up eventually using these shapes here and using the center options to modify the space of the location of the objects. You'll see what I mean in a second. So I'm just going to go in and choose the ellipse tool, and I'm going to first start off by roughly creating a border for my snap. Now I apologize for the technical issues here because my mouse has been glitching a bit, and of course because I need to do a video, it does not work well for me today. So now that I have kind of like an edge here that I'm going to be able to work on, I'm going to use this as my guideline for creating my circle. So basically what I'm going to do is when I go in to create my circle, it's going to snap to the edges. Now this snapping option is done by options in Photoshop, which you would need to make sure that it's on, which is in view, and you want to make sure that your snap is on. You have different options here too. Snap to guide, which is the one that I'm using. Snap to layer. Snap to guide is the one you're going to need. And that's what these are. These are guides. So snapping to guide will help you in the process of doing this. Now hopefully if I can get in here, I can actually create a circle without, or an ellipse tool without my mouse glitching on me. So once it snaps, I'm going to hold down my shift so I can make sure that it is not going to deform on me. And then what I have to do is I need to change the color, and because this is a vector, I can actually double click on it and go in and change the color immediately, and that's it. So now the next thing I need to do is create another ellipse, but we're going to go in yes, glitchy video, and I'm going to do the same thing for the inner circle. Actually, let me just clear this up first. I'm just going to go back because I needed to do something else first. Okay. I need to make sure that everything's centered correctly, because once I start creating my inner circle, I need to select the option first in order to intersect it, because then it won't work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide this, turn on these two, and then I'm going to make sure that everything's properly centered here. And what I'm going to do is now I'm going to hide this one, and I'm going to just duplicate this one, and then I'm going to shrink this one down. But I'm going to make this white so that we can see what we're doing. And by the way, what I'm doing is to make sure that I don't kind of do this type of thing. I'm always holding down my shift key so that my circle always stays perfectly round. we'll just do this like that for now. So I made this circle here, and this is going to only be my guide, and I need this. So what I'm going to do again is I'm just going to activate all my layers, and I'm going to center everything. And now what I need to do is I need to create my guides on this, because these border edge is going to help build my circle perfectly for me. So now I don't really need the circle, but what I have to do is now I have to go in, select my ellipse tool, and make sure that this time I go in and subtract from shape. So now when I create my circle, it's actually going to subtract it from the center of this big one right here. So let's go in and try. Voila, it is subtracted. And if you see here, also in the layer, it has a transparency, and we can check the transparency simply by let me remove this crap, and there we go. You just hide your border edges, and there we have it. It actually cut into this vector. Now that we have this made, so I can actually get rid of this ellipse object if my mouse will allow me, and I can actually take these two objects. Now I don't have to flatten these two objects. I can just leave them as is, and I can actually make these pieces separate if I wish, and make these two different objects. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold these two together, and then you simply go into okay, yeah, we do need to flatten these together, so that's okay. We'll flatten these together, and then what we do is we just go in to edit and define custom shape. It's that simple. So now you just give your shape a name. You call it Gear 1. And that's it. So now what you can do is you can just hide this, go into your custom shapes tool, and look for the gear that we created, and here you go. You can make as many gears as you wish, and use it for future projects. As you can see here, I actually have made some other things in here because I didn't get any of the packs or shape packs that usually comes with Photoshop. This Photoshop CS6 didn't really come with a lot. You can actually go to the website and download some of them, but I actually had to make some of these myself. Like, I've already made a gear before. I made like a battery, a banner. If I go in and if I just drag it, kind of gives me like a weird a banner shape. So that's how you make custom shapes in Photoshop. Hopefully my errors and my glitches today didn't deter you from learning anything. I hope that you actually did learn something on how to make shapes in Photoshop. So if you like my videos, by all means, just give me a comment and let me know what you think of them so far. There are going to be many more to come on Photoshop techniques and the inner workings of Photoshop and what it's capable of doing and all the nuances and tools. If you are new to my channel, Studio Parsons, by all means, click the subscribe button. If you like my videos and you'd like to share them, give me a like and share my content. So until next time, this is Bernard Parsons for Studio Parsons signing out and thanking you for watching my videos, and hopefully you guys and girls will come back again and watch some more of my tutorials. Thank you very much. Bye.